For too long, her stories have been buried, and her truth edited by a world that feared her power. You're listening to Sovereign Reality with Natalie. We are here to unearth the goddess, because her story is your story, and her rise is your reclamation. This is about you, authentically and fully you, recognizing your own divinity and stepping back onto your throne. Because the world doesn't need you quiet, babe.
Boss ass bitch. Boss bitch. Boss ass.
Hi, loves. Welcome back to the 10th and final episode of Season 2 of Sovereign Reality. So today we're closing Season 2 by bringing one of the most powerful figures in spiritual her story out of the shadows. For too long, the narrative surrounding Mary Magdalene has been a study in silence. So today we are going to break that silence with the weight of historical truth. We are here to witness her as she actually was, a high-ranking leader and the primary guardian of a revolutionary movement that shook the foundations of the Roman Empire. So raise your hand if the name Mary Magdalene conjures up images of a businesswoman or financier. My guess is you're probably not raising your hand. And that's because the patriarchy painted a much different picture of her. So to understand Mary, we have to understand her origins. She was Mary of Magdala. Magdala was not a quiet village. It was wealthy and it was a thriving industrial powerhouse on the Sea of Galilee, famous for its salt fish exports and textile dyes. Mary moved through this world with the legal and financial autonomy of an independent woman of means. Historically, she's identified as a primary financier of the Galilean Jesus Movement. This movement was a radical grassroots uprising against the Roman occupation and the rigid gatekeeping hierarchies of the Jerusalem temple. It was a dangerous social revolution that demanded the redistribution of wealth. So if you remember last episode, if you listen about Mother Mary, she was sort of also a part of that revolution as well. But this movement was also about the healing of the marginalized and the recognition of every soul as a sovereign temple. And Mary Magdalene was the economic backbone of this rebellion. She provided the purse. So she was like the capital required for food, housing, and safe passage for a mobile group of revolutionaries in an occupied territory. Mary Magdalene was the one who provided the infrastructure that made the revolutionary physically possible. The other thing that I personally just love about this powerhouse of a woman was that she was also the intellectual peer of the movement's leader. So apparently it is suggested, or allegedly, the male disciples often struggled with the abstract parables or the early texts, including those found in Nag Hammadi. And it was actually Mary who was the one who grasped the gnosis, or the direct internal knowledge of the divine. So she was the one who was able to actually make sense of what it was that these texts were saying and translate them for these male disciples who couldn't understand what they were reading. So she was able to lay it out for them so that they understood. She was the one the other leaders turned to for clarity. And when the movement reached its most violent crossroads in Jerusalem, Mary did not retreat. She stood as the primary witness at the foot of the Roman cross, and she was the first to return to the tomb. She was also the first to announce the resurrection, a role that legally and spiritually defined her as the apostle to the apostles. She was the lead strategist who held the frequency of the vision when the rest of the world had descended into chaos. When the later formalized church hierarchy attempted to bury her authority under labels of shame, Mary Magdalene responded with profound sovereign strength. She chose to maintain her internal peace rather than sinking to the level of defending her character against a smear campaign. I think we're all very clear on what that smear campaign was. She practiced radical self-healing, releasing the weight of patriarchal judgment. And she eventually moved her life and her energy to Gaul, a modern-day France, relocating to a place where she could flourish in peace as a teacher in her own right. Now, I have heard various stories. I don't know that anybody really knows the truth. I mean, unless we were actually there. So I don't know, but it's been said that she traveled there with Sarah, who was thought to be hers and Jesus' child, their daughter. She went to Saint Baume. Forgive me if I'm saying that incorrectly. It's French. And she meditated on basically day in and day out, transcending the 7 powers, which are just 7, well, it's called the 7 demons, but it's also called the 7 powers. So they're the different levels of what it is to be human, essentially. But I digress. She relocated to a place where she could flourish in peace as a teacher in her own right. I'm not sure if I said that, but I'm saying it again. She proved that your internal worth is a fortress that no external narrative can breach. She chose love over defense, and in doing so, she became the archetype of the woman who cannot be erased. Now, whether she left on her terms or she fled for her safety, I think that is to be debated. I've heard it more along the lines of she fled for safety. That's why she went where she did. And I mean, did she not say anything so that she wouldn't sink to lower levels, or did she not did she not speak out against what was happening out of fear, being a woman and in that time frame and all of the things that could have happened? Who's to say, really? That said, I think it's a powerful lesson in that way of releasing the need to defend oneself when it's the thing that you want to do the most, right? When someone is speaking untruths about you, and how natural it is to want to defend yourself. I've also read that she was an incredible teacher. She had so much knowledge about energy, about Kundalini energy. There is a book by Tom Kenyon, the name of it, the Magdalene manuscripts, that's what it's called. It's an amazing book, a channeled message. He's even a skeptic of his own writing, which I love. But it's a great book. I recommend it. He actually explicitly lays out all kinds of things that she shares with him. It's a channeled message from her specifically. And she shares exactly who she was and just how misconstrued it was. I think there was so much jealousy about her and about her relationship with Jesus, just from what I understand. And it seems to me that some of Jesus's apostles, I have to wonder if they struggled with their own sexuality when it came to Jesus, and maybe they had feelings for Jesus and felt threatened by her, truly, because I don't know why else they felt so, I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, the yogic anchor here in regards to Mary Magdalene, the one that came through, when I was thinking about her and I was thinking about her energy and what she represents and yoga off the mat is Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana is the final niyama in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, and it translates to the surrender, dedication, or offering of oneself to a higher power, divine intelligence, or the true self. It represents letting go of ego, trusting the universe, and acting without clinging to results. So Ishvara means supreme, Lord, higher self, and Pranidhana means fixing or dedication. So it's about releasing the need for control and accepting life's flow with grace rather than giving up. The practice involves aligning actions with a higher purpose rather than personal gain. And it's practiced by setting intentions, chanting, or offering up the effort. This would be on the mat in postures like child's pose or back bends. And then in daily life, this would show up in ways like cultivating humility, accepting challenges as learning opportunities, and recognizing a divine presence in everyone. According to Yoga Journal, practicing this enables practitioners to overcome ego-driven limitations and find peace. In Mary's life, this was an act of supreme spiritual authority. She surrendered the burden of her public reputation to the divine, freeing her energy to focus on the work that mattered. By practicing Ishvara Pranidhana, she released the toxins of unforgiveness toward those who sought to silence her. She surrendered the conflict so that she could remain in the high frequency of love. This is the ultimate reclamation, the moment you realize that by surrendering the ego's need to be quote-unquote right, you win your total freedom. I feel like Ishvara Pranidhana is something that I have to continue practicing with. I would also say that Mary Magdalene's teachings are also something I practice with. There are actually levels to both of these things in my experience. And I'm going to start with Ishvara Pranidhana. So Ishvara Pranidhana, for me, it's not about just giving up. It's never about just giving up. It's always more so just like, I don't know about you, but like reaching that level of just like, okay, I recognize that I cannot keep fighting against life right now, right? It's that moment you just, Jesus, take the wheel, you know? I'm not going to keep fighting this. I'm just going to let it go and trust that this is all happening for my highest good. And though I may not understand it, I don't understand why. Okay, right? That's like one aspect of it. In terms of reputation, someone saying something about you or saying something about me, I don't know. I suppose I could, right? I suppose in the face of it, if somebody's got a smear campaign going against me, and there have been times that many people have said things about me, and I know some of it does eat away at me in a way, because I'm like, no, that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. Like, what do they mean? Like, wait though, like that's not, that's not true. And it's a testament, I suppose, to myself that, I didn't just come out and publicly state like, hey, I wasn't doing this for this reason, or so-and-so said this and blah, 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 right? So yeah, I was forced into Ishvara Pranidhana, not by, the person didn't share with me who said what about me, but something people were saying things about me. And I suppose on another level, there are still people who say things about me that I know nothing of. And I prefer that over the latter. I'd rather not know. I'd rather not know what you think. But if we're to tie this in with Mary Magdalene's offering, Mary Magdalene's teachings, which were of Christ's teachings, which is love thy neighbor, period, point blank, no ifs, ands, or buts. Love thy neighbor. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they've done to you. Love thy neighbor. It's not that's it. That's the teaching. Love. Because we are all from the same source, and to that same source we will return. Mary Magdalene offers that teaching of unconditional love. And, her card even says, to sink to that lower level, it makes me no better. And can I find ways to still offer unconditional love, regardless of what others are saying about me, or regardless of what other people think about me? Is there still a way that I can do that? So if we're looking at Ishvara Pranidhana and we're remembering the true essence of thy neighbor, which is not this human costume that they are in, their behaviors, their, whatever, their patterns of thoughts, however they're showing up in this lifetime, whatever darkness they're carrying, they're not that. The truth of them, they are so much bigger than that. They may have forgotten who they are. They are divine. They are of the divine, cloaked in this thing, this human thing that we don't maybe recognize or like, right? It bumps up against a lot of maybe even Jesus's teachings. Maybe it's the opposite of what Jesus taught. People should be, or how people should be acting toward one another. And we're like, wait, no, that's That's not right. And then Mary Magdalene also teaching us or reminding us that the importance that only love is real. That's the only thing. At the end of the day, that's the only thing that's real. That's the only thing that lasts. Love is everlasting. And both of those things, I feel, are just a constant work in process and a constant practice on and off the mat. I mean, I don't know. I say on the mat because there are times, where we have to kind of accept where our bodies are. We have to still find ways to love where our bodies are in certain moments, in certain poses. I know for myself, I've been in a pose at points and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. I didn't know that looked like that, so can I love that? Can I love how that looks? Maybe you've been there, maybe you haven't. So, that's a form of unconditional self-love. I know that the ego is still attached to that in a way, but this is just the human costume. So can I look at it through the eyes of my soul and recognize like, hey, this is the vehicle that I'm experiencing my life through. Can I surrender a little bit and just let my ego surrender around the judgment that I might be holding on with that, right? And then, of course, off the mat, I think I've shared quite a bit around that. And then the other thing I wanted to say about Mary Magdalene is that she is one goddess that I struggled for a very long time to connect with. And I can only say that like Mother Mary has a very easy, accessible energy. And I don't know if it's because she just felt so motherly. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's because collectively we all decided Mother Mary was safe. She is this like nurturing energy. I don't know what that is. And then collectively, many people decided Mary Magdalene was this whore, this Charlotte, this harlot, whatever, this thing, wench. I don't know what it is. I don't know if that was a collective thing that we did and it messed with things on a frequency where it made it more inaccessible. But I noticed like in spiritual circles, there were certain women who seemed to have more access to Mary Magdalene. And I was just like, I'm not able to access that. And I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why like I can't seem to get there. And it's only been up until recently that I've been able to access her more. And I will tell you this, Mary Magdalene has the type of energy that I feel every woman on this earth has forgotten deserves to have. She has a boundary. She has boundaries. She has, you have to earn her. That's the best way that I can put it. I don't think that maybe that's not even a real thing. Maybe you as a listener have an easier time or had an easier time. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong here. But I just found her energy to be something that like it took some time and it took a little bit more consistency. And it wasn't until I reached a certain point within myself that I was able to access her. And I don't know if that's going to make sense to anybody else out there, but like she isn't for just anybody. She's only for a very specific frequency because I think that she's choosy. I don't know how else to put that. And in the best way, I think that's how we should all be as women. We need to be selective about who we let into our circle, who we are inviting into our field. I think that if you were anything like me and you were not taught about how valuable your energy is, that your energy is valuable because it is, and that you can't just be giving it away for free to anybody who wants it, because people are not going to value that. But your energy is valuable. Your energy has value. And I feel like Mary Magdalene has this innately within her frequency. And maybe that's what scared so many men around her. Maybe that's why so many men felt threatened by her, because maybe that just was so uncommon back then. I don't know, but she definitely has that. So I will ask you this before we kind of close out this episode. What surrender feels like in your body, where you might be being asked to release control, and if you happen to feel or know the difference between giving up versus surrendering. Amongst my other questions, when it comes to Mary Magdalene. If you have any experience working with her, I'm curious to know. I think you can leave comments, reviews, comments. Please do. I'd love to hear about your experience. One other question for you. Where can you release the need to be understood? That's a tough one for me. I think it's more so being understood in intimate partnership. I think that's a big one. But when someone's committed to misunderstanding you, I think at that point you just cut your losses and move on. So just let it go. So we have spent this season reclaiming our archetypes, and now we prepare to hear her direct voice. Well, her story was hidden. Her words were preserved, buried in the Egyptian desert for 2,000 years, waiting for a time when we were ready to listen. So I am so excited to announce a special 4-part mini-series, and I'm calling it the Sovereign Script. This is essentially the Magdalene transmission. Starting July 8th, we're going to go through line by line through Mary Magdalene's Lost Gospels. Did you know that she had Gospels? Well, you do now. We're going to be unearthing the radical sovereign messages that she left for us, the original blueprint for the awakened soul. So I really hope you'll be here to listen to that. Again, July 8th. And then by the 4th episode, stay tuned for a special announcement because I have a little extra something on the horizon for you. You don't want to miss it. And of course, I actually over on my YouTube channel have an inner union yoga class. Now this one is a Yeshua Mary Magdalene inspired class. And we do a little bit of yin and we do a little bit of kundalini. I play the ukulele at the end and sing, and it's a good time. People seem to enjoy that class quite a bit. So if you're listening on YouTube, then just go ahead and find it here within my page. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, then you can head on over to my YouTube channel at Sovereign with Natalie. I'd love to see you over there. And of course, if you're not on my email list yet, please come join me because every month on the 10th, like clockwork, I honor a different goddess with a ritual that you can do at home, an energetic snapshot of the astrology shaping the month, and an exclusive subliminal crafted specifically for that goddess's frequency. Again, every month on the 10th. And if you're already a subscriber and you are not getting these emails on the 10th, that means they're going to your junk email. So please go check that spam folder or junk folder and move me back over to your inbox because I am sending them for whatever reason. Gmail might be sending them there, or Yahoo, or whatever thing you're using. So make sure that they aren't going to your spam folder, okay? It's free, it's sacred, and it keeps you connected to the living feminine current. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. I'll see you guys again July 8th. Until next time, stay sovereign.
Boss ass bitch.
Thank you for walking with me today. Remember, the goddess isn't a myth you're learning. She is a power you are remembering. So go out into the world today and take up your space. Don't filter your truth and don't apologize for who you are. I'm Natalie, and this is Sovereign Reality. Be bold and be authentically and fully you, because the world doesn't need you quiet, babe.